Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bull Take Scouting Podcast. Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season is in the books, and we had 3 rookie quarterbacks make their debuts, and actually 5, because while the other 2, Trey Lance and Justin Fields, didn't start, they ended up coming into the game and each scoring touchdowns. So it was definitely an exciting first weekend for us scouting fans, and let's dive into these performances from the rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, we'll start off talking about the 3 that started the games, and then we'll talk quickly about the other 2. So let's start off. Trevor Lawrence, Costa. What were your impressions of Trevor?
Yeah, I wouldn't just immediately look at the scoreline of the game and look at the 3 interceptions and think, oh, he was a disaster. I actually went back and watched every play that he had in that game, and there were a lot of really nice throws where he showed the ability to climb the pocket, escape pressure, layer over the defense, fit the ball into tight windows. But at the same time, there were those 3 really poor interceptions that ended up tarnishing the game a lot for him on top of the really bad scoreline against the Texans. And what I think it comes down to is Urban Meyer just asking Lawrence to do way too much. In no way should a rookie quarterback be throwing 51 times in his NFL debut. There's bound to be a few bad throws that turn into interceptions that maybe in college would have just been incomplete. And I think that this could be a common theme this season. We've really seen a tumultuous side to this Urban Meyer era already. There's reports coming out that he gets unhinged really easily, and that rubs the coaching staff and the players the wrong way. They don't like his authoritarian style of coaching. And there was even a report today that he's interested in the USC head coaching job. So God knows what's going to go on there. But as long as Meyer is the coach of the Jaguars, I'm afraid he's going to be asking Lawrence to do too much. And while we'll still be seeing those flashes of brilliance that speak to Lawrence's talent, I think it could be a mixed bag of a first season for him. But I'm definitely not worried for his long-term outlook in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be worried at all. It's his first start. You really can't take too much away from these guys' first starts. Sometimes they may look great their first start, and then the rest of their career doesn't pan out, and it could be the opposite. So with all 3 of these guys, for the most part, you kind of take what you see with a grain of salt. It's a good thing to discuss, to talk about the things that they did well, the things that they did poorly. But like you said, Lawrence had some really nice throws, as we all expected. He's got really nice ball placement, especially that short intermediate range. But the 3 interceptions were, not the best passes. But again, he's a rookie. It's his first start in the NFL. This is what you're going to expect. It's his first time playing on a team where the talent level is probably worse than his opponent's talent level. So, those things are to be expected. I agree completely with you. The 51 passes, in no way, shape, or form should any team be asking a rookie quarterback to throw 51 times. And they had a decent running back in James Robinson. He really didn't get too many carries. So in the future, I'd like to see them try to give James Robinson the ball a little more. Carlos Hyde even. They really have to use that running game to help ease Lawrence's transition into the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely need to do that. And there were also a multitude of drops by his receivers that could have moved the chains and prevented the game from getting out of hand. But unfortunately, his receivers weren't coming down with the ball consistently. And what I noticed after the game, because obviously we all knew this, but I don't think anyone really thought about it and thought about the implications it could have. But usually when you have a rookie quarterback, even if it's a first-time head coach and they're both making their debuts as a quarterback in the NFL and as head coaches in the NFL, the head coach has already been around in the NFL. He knows how it works and everything. This is I'd actually like to know when the last time was that both the head coach and the rookie had never experienced the NFL in any way, and were both used to having a superior team week in and week out in college. So I'm really not surprised by what happened in hindsight. And I know that Lawrence is going to have a ton of good passes this year. He's going to show why he's the first overall pick. There just might be some recurrent mistakes as Meyer makes him do too much and doesn't really give him the balanced offense that he needs to be able to transition well to the NFL, which is a significant transition for him, given that he's always been on the better team.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all we can say about Trevor Lawrence's first game. We'll definitely be bringing back the conversation about the rookie quarterbacks a few weeks from now. But now I think it's time to move on to Zach Wilson. And similar to Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson was on the one of the worst talented teams in the NFL, easily less talented than the team the Jets were playing in the Carolina Panthers. The theme of that game for me was the Jets' putrid offensive line. Zach Wilson had absolutely no time. It was horrendous to watch. As a Jets fan, it was not fun. I expected the line to be a lot better this year than it was in years past. But, Zach Wilson really shined at some points in the game. He had one interception that was just a boneheaded mistake. He missed the linebacker sitting in coverage. Whatever. It's a rookie mistake. He's going to learn from it. He'll move on. Similar to Lawrence, he had quite a few drops from his receivers. There was he made a great play extension early on in the game. He got flushed out of the pocket, was running to the right side, chucked the ball down the field. I don't remember which receiver it was, but it hit the receiver pretty much nearly in the hands, and the receiver just went up with one hand to try to make a one-handed grab and dropped it. It was, similar to Lawrence, a lot of drops, but Wilson showed that he can make a lot with his feet, and when the pocket breaks down, he feels the pressure. He can run outside the pocket, make a ton of plays. You saw it on his first ever touchdown. He was flushed outside the pocket. It looked like a completely broken play. He threw a pretty perfect ball into the end zone to Corey Davis. It was probably a 30-something yard touchdown pass. So, looking at the box score, the stats, not what you want to do, especially with Zach Wilson. Watch the plays, watch what he can do, scrambling outside the pocket, what he can do with his arm. Some really, really nice ball placement, especially across the middle and deep. For a Jets fan, it's nice to see a quarterback that can do things with his legs when the pocket breaks down. That's something I definitely haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think that whenever a Jets quarterback comes along, they're never in the best situation right from the start, and that might be why the Jets never get to find their guy. But for the first time, they really have a quarterback who can get around that and be able to make plays when the pocket collapses, when the play breaks down. And we, as you said, we saw that on his touchdown. I think that play alone was a great indication of the improvisational ability that he brings to the table, which is so crucial for a rookie quarterback who has to adjust to the NFL with a bad offensive line, which is normally the recipe for disaster and for almost ruining a career. I mean, we all saw what happened to David Carr his first year as a rookie in the NFL with the Texans. But I'm very impressed with Wilson's performance, actually, because I think on a week one debut, and considering that the defenses he went against weren't even the best defenses in college last year, they were really mediocre or subpar defenses. The fact that he went against an NFL defense with such little time in his debut and played that well, and I kept the game in hand for most of the 60 minutes. I think that was really impressive.
Yeah, I think, I may be a little bit biased because I am a Jets fan, but watching pretty much all the Patriots game, obviously all the Jets game, and spurts of the Jaguars game, I was the most impressed with Wilson because of what he did in his situation. I'm not saying he had the best week one. I think, we might get to that in a second, but I think with the situation that he was in, he impressed me the most.
Yeah, and so moving on to the next quarterback, what do you think of Mac Jones's performance against the Dolphins in the 17-16 loss for the Patriots?
So I kind of just hinted at it. I think Mac Jones definitely had the cleanest week one out of these three quarterbacks, and that's to be expected. He was on the best team, the most talented team, the greatest head coach of all time, a very good offensive coordinator, and he really fits that mold of a Patriots quarterback very well. He didn't do anything to wow me. But he was definitely decently accurate. There were a few plays where I was like, those are the kind of plays we saw in college. But it was pretty much exactly what I expected from a rookie quarterback entering that Patriots system. Obviously, nothing to really compare it up against. But I think he played very well for the situation that he was in. There was a lot of short, intermediate throws, finding the open man, hitting him. He barely made any poor decisions throwing the ball. Early on in the game, he did have a fumble mistake. He was getting wrapped up in a sack, and he got spun around 180 degrees, and he just tried to shovel pass it backwards to a running back that was in the area. The ball was on the ground. It was a fumble. Really ill-advised play, but he's very intelligent. I doubt he'll ever do that again. But you could see his intelligence in play. It was never really throwing into double coverage. He was willing to throw to his check down, throw to the wide open man, even if it wasn't a super aggressive, super deep throw. So I would say Mac Jones definitely impressed me, but it's what you expect from a guy of his caliber entering a Patriots offense.
Yeah, I actually want to go back to when he was drafted. I think we made it both pretty clear that we were not Mac Jones fans, but I need to clarify upon that. I didn't like Mac Jones as a prospect in terms of a general projection to the NFL. I like Mac Jones in New England. I think this is the perfect situation for him. He lacks the ability to extend the play that guys like Wilson and Lawrence have. And if he were playing for the Jaguars or the Jets, I think he would have a disastrous rookie year, and he could really end up being labeled a bust. And as we know, situation is king when it comes to drafting rookie quarterbacks. And I think he's in the best possible place to have a good rookie year and a good career. The Patriots system and Bill Belichick are really going to be conservative with him. They're not going to ask him to do things that he can't do. He's not going to be launching deep ball after deep ball. He's not going to be asked to flush out of the pocket, roll out, throw on the run, or get yardage with his legs. He really can't do any of that. But what he can do is be a very accurate and effective distributor of the football. He can sit back in the pocket when given time. He can pick apart your defense. That's what he did at Alabama. He'll find the open man consistently, go through his projections. He's got great field vision, great football intelligence. And there really is just no team that is better suited for him than the Patriots. He said it on draft night that secretly that's where he wanted to go all along. And for a guy that's smart, I'm not surprised that he really understood that was the best place for him. And I think he is going to have a rookie season that's not spectacular, but it's very clean. And I think the Patriots can be on that playoff bubble with him.
Yeah, he's definitely not a guy that's going to wow you athletically, physically, throwing the ball down the field, but he'll wow you with his intelligence, his ability to not get flustered when there's not an open man right away, and his ability to eventually either find that open man or his willingness to throw the ball away. I think that's something that we didn't mention with both Lawrence and Wilson, that they're always trying to make a play. Sometimes you just got to learn to throw the ball away, throw it out of bounds, live to see another down. And I think Mac definitely did that the best out of the three. There were multiple plays where there was nobody open. He felt the pressure. He knows I can't escape. I'm just going to throw the ball away, live to play another down. And I think that's definitely really impressive to see that he knows his limitations. There were multiple plays where the pocket collapsed around him, and he said, I'm going to stand there. I'm going to try to make a throw. And I'm going to take a hit. He's not going to extend the play. He's really not even going to run outside the pocket very much. But he knows what he can do. He knows his limitations, and he performs to the best of his abilities.
Yeah, he's a pure pocket passer like we haven't really seen them come along in the last 5 years, because the NFL has evolved to where if you need to succeed as a young quarterback in this league, you need to be able to get out of the pocket and make plays with your legs or with your arm on the run when the play breaks down. Except he's just been lucky enough to fall into a situation with a really good offensive line, honestly a good receiving core with the additions that they made this offseason, and obviously a fantastic coach in Bill Belichick. So I think Patriots fans like myself have the right to be excited. He's not going to be a world beater or an all-pro quarterback, but he could be the guy in New England. I think he'll have a very solid rookie year, as he showed with a very clean game against the Dolphins.
Yeah, and the last point on Mac Jones, he's never going to be the guy to lose you a game, especially with his throwing. Maybe if you have a really good pass rush and he just can't get away from the pass rush, that may be why you lose a game. He's never going to lose you a game because he's making poor decision after poor decision after poor decision. So I think that's definitely something to look forward to for Patriots fans, especially while you still have Bill Belichick as your head coach.
Yeah, the post-Belichick era could be a little different, but hopefully Belichick is there long enough for Mac to really get into his game and get experience in the NFL, and then he'll be fine. But the other two rookie quarterbacks were Trey Lance, who ended up coming in for the 49ers on a couple plays and getting a 5-yard passing touchdown, which was actually on the first drive of the game for them, and Justin Fields for the Bears, who came in also on a few plays and got a rushing touchdown. So I thought it was really interesting to see them trot out their first-round picks despite having started veteran quarterbacks over them in week one and get them out there for some plays, and they each got a touchdown. So what did you make of those decisions and the packages they ran with Fields and Lance respectively?
I mean, so honestly, both situations I'm not surprised. I think Kyle Shanahan hinted at it a few times that he wants to run a somewhat of a 2 QB system. My reaction to when I saw the touchdown pass that Trey Lance threw, my reaction was, "Oh, that was cute." It was a Kyle Shanahan easy touchdown pass. Trey Lance literally took the snap. Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure, told him exactly where to look because you see him take the snap, look right at the receiver, throw it 2 yards in the air, 3 yards in the air. Receiver runs in for a touchdown. It was a good way to get Trey Lance's confidence up. He threw a touchdown pass in the NFL. That's great. The first one's out of the way. You can't really get anything from that pass. I think anyone could have thrown that, especially with Kyle Shanahan as the head coach. But I think it's good confidence builder, especially for a rookie like him. Sat out last year because the FCS didn't play. Coming from a lower level of competition, only starting one season, anything and everything that can build his confidence slowly is important. So I thought it was a really good decision by Kyle Shanahan. Let him get that touchdown early, get the nerves out. And I think we'll continue to see that throughout the season of Kyle Shanahan throwing him in here and there, maybe more as the season goes on. And, depending on how the 49ers are come, middle end of the season, who knows what may happen. And then with Justin Fields, honestly, I think he should be starting right now. I know this is we should be talking about the rookies, but I feel like Andy Dalton doesn't really offer the Bears anything that Justin Fields does, or that doesn't offer the Bears anything that Justin Fields doesn't. And Justin Fields offers that threat and that ability to run, and Andy Dalton obviously does not have that. I thought you saw that in his rushing touchdown. He had 2 passes, I think, that were both complete. Again, nothing that you can really break down, but my opinion that I want to get out there, and it's similar to a lot of people, and Bears fans, you'll probably have this opinion too. Justin Fields should be on the field. He's experienced enough. He's talented enough to handle it, go through the ups and downs. He's played against high level of competition. I don't really see any reason as to why he shouldn't be starting right now.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm going to go back to what you were saying about how it's a real confidence boost for them to put them in and allow them to get these touchdowns, get these completions or these runs. I think that's definitely a really good point. And I think it's really interesting to be able to bring them in, especially in red zone situations where the opposing team suddenly having game plan for Garoppolo and Dalton, respectively, who really aren't special athletes, now have to take into account the added possibility of the running that Trey Lance and Justin Fields can present, especially in the red zone when they can just trot in for a touchdown like Justin Fields did. So I think that's really interesting and advantageous for both the team and for these rookie quarterbacks. And I think Lance also. You're talking about how Fields needs to be starting, and I agree with you. I understand why they started Dalton week 1, and I would have made the same decision because I would not have thrown Fields out there as his NFL debut against the Rams and with Jalen Ramsey locking up half the field. I just wouldn't have done that, but he definitely should be in soon. And I agree. I don't see what Dalton could do with this team. It's a team that actually could make a playoff push, that has the talent for it, and Dalton will actually hold them back. Now, on the other hand, the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo could be heading to the playoffs, and maybe they don't want to risk that. But they did draft Trey Lance 3rd overall and traded 3 first-round picks for him, and he hasn't played since 2019. Except for that one exhibition game last year against Central Arkansas in 2020. He's a 1-year FCS starter, 2 years removed from having played a full season. He needs reps. He needs to play. I think by midseason, they got to ease him in like they already started to do in week 1, putting him in a few plays here and there. And by midseason, I think he needs to be the starter regardless of where the team is at. I think even if they're in a playoff place, they need to trust the investment that they made in Trey Lance and think, okay, we can put him out there without losing our playoff berth. And they need to really back up the investment they made by getting him reps on the field as a full-time starter.
I mean, I agree, but I also think it's a really tough situation for the 49ers that they put themselves in. I think they truly do have a Super Bowl caliber roster. If you look at that defense, you look at the offensive weapons, and you look at the coaching staff, they're Super Bowl contenders kind of regardless of who the quarterback is. And my issue is that I think Garoppolo is a safer play because I feel like Garoppolo is not going to make the rookie mistakes that Trey Lance will make at whatever point that he ends up starting. And you don't want those rookie mistakes to lose you a playoff game. As much as I agree that Trey Lance needs reps, and in pretty much any situation for me, it'd be no-brainer. This guy needs reps. Start him now. It's like, what do you do? Because you don't want the locker room to revolt and say, we could have won a Super Bowl this year if we had Jimmy Garoppolo starting because he wouldn't have made these ill-advised throws. So it's a really tough situation. From a scouting perspective, 100%, I agree. Trey Lance needs to start. From looking at it from almost a coaching locker room point of view, it's more borderline than that because you don't want Trey Lance to be the reason you don't win a Super Bowl in his rookie year.
I understand, but you traded 3 first-round picks and took him 3rd overall. He didn't play except for that one game in 2020. You have to put him in. You will just completely fail your investment if you make him go 2 years without being a starter in more than one football game. And looking at their team right now, they can definitely make a long playoff push. I don't think that with Jimmy Garoppolo they can beat the Bucs or the Chiefs and actually win the Super Bowl. And as much as that locker room likes Jimmy Garoppolo, they know what's going on. They know what the 49ers did to go get Trey Lance despite having Jimmy Garoppolo on the team. And I think that they trust Kyle Shanahan. I think they have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I don't think they would revolt against him. I think that while some of them might be disappointed, I'm thinking especially of George Kittle. He's come out and supported Jimmy Garoppolo countless times in public. I think they would understand that as long as Trey Lance is playing well enough, there wouldn't be too many complaints. And if Shanahan picked him 3rd overall and he gets, say, half a season of sitting behind Garoppolo and coming in here and there, he really has to play that well enough. That's on him and that's on them to be able to groom him well enough. But for me, by midseason, Trey Lance has to be the starter in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that last point you made about the players having trust in Kyle Shanahan. I know we've gone a little bit off topic, but that's really a huge benefit that the 49ers have. All the players completely and 100% respect and trust Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, we all have seen what Kyle Shanahan can do as a head coach, and obviously the players can see it as well. The trust in Kyle Shanahan is a great point, and I think they will know whatever he does, whether they 100% agree with it or not, it's the right decision for the team now and in the future. And whoever the quarterback is for the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan will put both the quarterback and the whole team in the best position to win.
Exactly. It's hard to see Lance coming in there and really just playing poorly because Shanahan would format that offense just exactly to his strengths and to protect his weaknesses and inexperience.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much wraps it up. We talked about all 5 first-round quarterbacks, especially the 3 that started week 1. I think week 4 we can probably plan to talk about the quarterbacks and the rookies again in general. And that wraps up the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back again next week.